Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, YouTube? Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy Tank be chopping, and we back with another haircut tutorial. Alright guys, this was my first time cutting this man's hair. As you can see, he's got a lot of hair. We are going to be trimming the top a little bit and doing like a mid-drop fade, lining up the beard, adding some enhancements. So what I'm doing here is I'm saturating the top of my client's hair, and I'm going to be creating some type of part, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why I said some type of part, but I'm going to be parting it, basically separating the sides from the top. So as you can see here, that's what I'm doing, is just making sure that I have my client's hair fully saturated, getting it, you know, as saturated as can be, because he's got a lot of hair, so we got to make sure that that water actually penetrates a lot of that hair and gets down to the roots. So once that is done, like I said, I am going to be parting the hair, separating it, splitting it from the sides and the top. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm not the best at parting, so sometimes my parting game really isn't that good, but you know what I'm saying, we're trying to level up and do some different things. So that's basically what I'm doing here is. And sometimes when it comes to certain things, guys, you got to take your time. That's basically what I had to do when I was parting my client's hair. But now what I'm doing is I'm taking up a section, basically creating a mohawk section coming forward, and I'm cutting off about 3/4 of an inch or so, and I'm gonna follow this guideline all the way forward. So as you can see, I'm just coming forward, bringing the section up with a little more hair every time, cutting off that excess hair that was longer than that initial guideline that I set in. And now I'm just gonna go back with it and make sure I get it all down to that length, make sure that it's all nice and even. And then now what I'm doing is I'm setting in my sections the opposite way, still using that guideline. So the guideline is in the middle of my client's head, so every time I pull up a section, I pull up a little bit of that guideline. Also with longer hair, you know what I'm saying? So I have longer hair in my section with the shorter hair, so that lets me know how much hair I need to cut off. It lets me know that that longer hair that's longer than that initial guideline that I need to clip off. And I'm gonna do that all the way to the right side, and then I'm gonna be doing the same thing to the left side. And as y'all can see, I did speed this part of the video up just because I didn't want it to be too redundant, you know what I'm saying? But as y'all can see, I'm just making sure all the top of my client's hair is nice and even. And as y'all saw earlier in the video, my client does have a little bit of curls to it, so we're gonna be blow drying it a little bit just to bring the curls back slightly. Alright, so once again, I'm gonna part my client's hair just to separate the sides from the top. That way I can trim the sides down slightly. I like to do this because it helps me blend the sides into the top better with my clipper work. That didn't make sense at all. It helps me blend my clipper work from the sides into the top easier when I trim the sides down with shears also. But before I do that, I have to make sure I separate the sides from the top. And once again, guys, sometimes it's gonna take you a little longer. Sometimes you gotta take your time like I did here, but it's all good because it gives a good finished product. So as you can see, I'm pulling out some hair from the side of my client's hair, from the side of my client's head, and I'm pulling it out and I'm just trimming that down about finger length, just to where it's gonna be easier for me to blend into. So I know I can take my number 4 guard and blend into what I'm trimming now. And this also helps blend into the hair that I cut off. And it also helps me blend into the length that I did on top also. And then once we start getting to the back of the client's head, I'm gonna start to drop this guideline down because we do want that drop effect. Like I said earlier, guys, we are gonna be doing a mid-drop fade. So we gotta make sure that we drop it in the back, leave some bulk in the back since that's what the client is going for. And as y'all can see, every section I pull out, I'm pulling out a little bit of the previous section. That way I see my guideline and I know how much hair I need to cut off. And then once again, I barely started doing this maybe about, I don't even know, about 2 or 3 months ago or so. So I'm not the best at this part of my haircuts, but I do know that I like the way that it helps me blend my clipper work into the shear work. So I do it a lot now. I didn't used to do it before, but I've been doing it a lot now. And I know it's gonna take me some time to get better, but that's the thing about barbering, guys. When you wanna elevate, you gotta practice new techniques until you get really good at them. So that's basically what I'm doing here. So now that I have all that trimmed down, I have my number 4 guard. I am using my gold Snap FX, and I'm just blending into the shear work that I just did. So as you can see, I am flowing that clipper, and I like to use my Babyliss clippers for this because I feel that these feed the hair into the clipper better once it gets to the longer hair. So that's why I use my babyless clippers for a lot of my debulking. I just feel that it gives a better overall look. And then same thing in the back, guys. We want to make sure that we're dropping it. We're not coming as high as we are on the sides. And then we're just going to follow that guideline all the way around the head, making sure that we're blending that number 4 into the shear work. And then if we have any discrepancies in the top of this blend later on, I'll come back and do shear over comb, clipper over comb, thinning shear over comb. Do what I feel is necessary to get that top of the blend to look right. But now what I'm doing is I'm taking my 3 guard and I'm coming right below what I just previously did with my 4 guard. And I like to debulk with my 4 guard first and then my 3 guard because it's a lot easier for me to blend into a number 3 than it is for me to blend into longer hair. So I feel if you debulk your hair, debulk the canvas, you get an easier canvas to work with. And anyone could basically blend into a 3. It's a lot easier to blend into a 3 than it is to blend in a long hair. So that's the reason for me debulking before I actually start my fade work. And once again, guys, you want to make sure that we're following that shape of the head. That way we have that drop effect in the back. All right, so now I sped this part of the video up. I did put a little bit of gel and a little bit of some product to help his hair curl up. And now I'm just hitting him with that diffuser just to blow dry the top a little bit so we can have somewhat of a finished look. It's not going to be the overall finished look, but just so we can get an idea of what we're working with. Alright, so now I'm going in with my Snap FX clippers all the way closed, and I'm setting in my initial bald guideline. And once again, guys, I'm making sure that we drop it in the back, bringing it right to about that occipital bone area right below that. Kind of like how we would do a low fade, except for the sides we are coming up a little more. If I was doing a low fade on the sides, I wouldn't come that high. And then I'm just going to connect the opposite side to the back. Alright, so now I'm gonna follow that up with my Snap FX trimmer, coming right below that, trying not to come up all the way to that initial bald guideline, because if you do, it's gonna make that line harder to take out. So I'm basically flicking my trimmer out the closer I get to that line. That way the transition is a lot smoother, a lot nicer, and it looks better, and I don't have to do too much work at the end of this blend. And now that that is done, I'm gonna follow this up with my shaver. This is my UV single foil shaver. I like using my single foil shaver, guys. I just feel that it's easier to get into those tighter places. And same thing with the foil shaver, guys. We're not coming up all the way to that line. We're staying right below it. Still not applying too much pressure and still using a slight flick out motion. Now I'm going in with my Lithium FX trimmer, lever all the way open, and I'm gonna be setting in another guideline. And we're coming up about half an inch or so, and I'm following the same shape using a slight flick out motion, creating that shape. Normally I would set in my guideline all the way around, but I just decided to do one side at a time. So I set that guideline in. Now I'm going in with my 1 guard lever open, following that same shape using a slight flick out motion, creating another section the same length that I created in my previous section. And as you can see, we're gonna go over it a couple times just to make sure that we're nice and consistent with it. Now I'm using my 2 guard open, and this should basically blend into the 3 guard that I did earlier in this haircut. And if it doesn't, that's fine. I'll come back and take care of any discrepancies if I need to. But I'm just trying to blend, this 2 guard open into the bulk of this haircut. And as you can see, I am using a pretty aggressive flick out motion, and that's because I don't want to create any more lines, create any more discrepancies, and make this harder on myself. So now what I decided to do is, this is my number 3 guard open, just to clean up, those small little areas of imperfection that I see, these slight lines of demarcation, just trying to clean that up and just get this blend a little better, get it a little cleaner. And then I close my 3 guard, and we're just gonna clean that up a little bit. So now I'm going in with my 1 guard lever closed, and I'm attacking this bottom line in this section. And I don't want to bring this line up, so I'm really just tapping at that line. As you can see, I'm using the corner of my clipper, just trying to be really careful, trying to be really precise with what I'm doing. Still using a slight flick out motion to make sure I don't create any more lines. But sometimes you are going to create lines, and you just got to go back and adjust your lever as needed, just to get those lines to become erased and look nice and smooth. Here is my 1.5 guard. I did not use this guard in my initial steps because sometimes you don't need it. It's more of a detailing guard. So I do have my 1.5 guard open, and then I'm just gonna adjust my lever as needed to try to get this part of the blend to come together. And once again, guys, when it comes to detailing, adjust your guard as needed. Same thing with the half guard, guys. I feel this is like a detailing guard, so I didn't use it originally, but now I'm going in with my lever open, attacking these dark areas in this part of the blend, as y'all can see. Really taking my time. Once again, this was my first time cutting this client, so I wanted to take my time, make sure I gave him a good haircut. And honestly though, the first time I cut client's hair, sometimes it ain't the best, you know what I'm saying? Not that it's bad, but it takes me a few times to get the haircut right. I think the second or third time that I cut a client's head that's new, I think that that's the best haircut that I can give them. The first one always takes me a little while. I have to learn their haircut, learn what their hair is doing before I actually give them like a really, really good blend. But now we're reverting back to that one guard, lever open. And we're gonna be attacking this area of the blend a lot because this area of the blend is what gave me a lot of trouble. I didn't want to bring the fade too high, so I had to adjust my lever a lot, use different guards, use the corner of my clipper, just take my time to try to erase these dark areas, because if not, you're gonna bring this fade too high, and instead of it being a mid drop fade, it's just gonna be like a mid to high fade all the way around. So you gotta take your time, you know, really pay attention to what you're doing. Use your mirror if you have to. Do what you gotta do to get that them lines to come out and that blend to look nice. So now I'm going in with my clipper halfway open, and I'm attacking this bottom section of this blend. And I'm just using a slight flick out motion, and it's not gonna erase this line completely. It's basically just gonna soften it up and lighten it up. And then as I close my lever more, it's gonna start to erase this bottom line. And it should erase it completely, but if it doesn't, you know, that's not an issue. We can come back in with the trimmer if needed. That's the reason why I come in with my clipper closed first, because I feel that it takes the time away from me having to come back in with my trimmer to erase that bottom line. But there are some instances where I do have to come back in with my trimmer and clean that line up. So I'm trying to do as much as I can without reverting to my trimmer, because I don't want to create any other lines. I want to, you know, try to get this blend to come together without using my trimmer if I don't need to use it. And once again, this part, the bottom part of this blend gave me some trouble. But as you can see, it's coming together, man. We're working, we're just taking our time, being really aware of what we're doing. And now I said, you know what, let me go ahead and get this trimmer out and let me start tapping at this line. And just for reference, this is the Lithium Pro Trimmer by Babyliss. It's one of my favorite trimmers, honestly, guys. But yeah, check it out. I'm just using the corner of that blade just to detail this bottom line a little bit. All right, so now that that is done, I'm gonna go ahead and put a line in my client's lineup. I'm starting off with the C cup. I'm gonna curve that slightly, curve that down to the beard. And then I'm gonna trim the beard. Not 100% sure what we trim the beard with. I wanna say this is a 1.5 lever open maybe. Not 100% once again, but nonetheless, we are trimming this beard down with that guard. And then I'm gonna close my lever, and I'm gonna start to blend this part of the beard slightly. Then I'm going with my clipper open, and I'm gonna adjust my lever closed little by little, working my way up. Here is my half guard, adjusting my lever as needed. And then I'm moving back on to lining up. I'm moving back to lining my client up. And once again, we are gonna be lining up the beard. Try not to bring that beard too far down, but we do wanna give him a nice sharp line. So I'm just gonna tap at this beard a couple times, keep tapping until I get a nice sharp line. We're gonna hit up that mustache, line him up underneath the neck area or underneath the chin. Make sure we line up the back of the beard, guys. You want to make sure we got sharp lines in the back of that beard. Now I'm moving on to the front lineup, and I am using my FX3s on this part of the lineup. These FX3s are probably one of my favorite trimmers for tap and go. One tap and that hair is completely erased, man. All right, so now that that is done, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start blending a little bit more of this bulk. As you can see, there's a little bit of bulk here. So I'm going in with my blending shears and basically using my shear over comb technique to soften up these bulk areas and try to get that bulk to come down a little bit. And now I'm moving on to some detail work. 4 guard, 3 guard. I'm just going through some of my guards to get this blend to come together a little better. As you can see, the blend isn't 100%, you know, like finished yet. So I'm just going back in and cleaning up that blend to give it a nice smooth effect. So now what I'm gonna do is, I didn't record the opposite or the back side of the haircut due to time. So now I'm adding some enhancements. I am using Temptation by Kiss. I got my Tune 45 enhancement card. And if you want to buy anything from Tune 45, you can use my discount code TANK at tune45.com. And if you want to purchase any Babyliss tools, babylesspro.com, use my discount code TANK10. But now we're moving on to that razor work. As you can see, we're just trying to get these lines as sharp as we can possibly get them, making sure that you're stretching that skin, making sure that you're taking your time, making sure that you're getting these lines super, super crisp. And as you can see, man, that blend, that thing looks blurry, man. Like I said, it took me a little minute to get this to look the way I wanted it to look, but I'm really satisfied with the end result. Y'all let me know if y'all think I blessed this man in the comments, man. And then we're just doing the same thing to this side with the razor, making sure all these lines are nice and sharp. All right, man, so check it out. This is how my boy came into the shop looking. He said, Tank, I need your help, man. I need you to fix me up. I said, don't worry, bro, I got you. Check it out, man. This is the finished product. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this haircut in the comment section. If y'all like this video, please make sure to smash that like button. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe one time for your boy. Remember, guys, if you're in the Houston, Texas area and you want a haircut from your boy, you can go to my website, tankbchopping.com. You can book there. If you want me to record it for YouTube, make sure to put that in the comment section. I'll try to do that for you. Babyliss Pro tools in this video, so if you want to purchase anything off of babylesspro.com, you can use my discount code TANK10 at babylesspro.com. If you want to purchase anything off of Tune 45, you can use my discount code TANK at tune45.com. But yeah, YouTube, that's basically it for this video. I appreciate y'all for watching. Until next time, let's go.